Okay, this one is interesting. So, Kid Cudi didn't want to be anywhere near that courtroom.
I hated every minute of it. Like I did not want to do it.
He says he hated every minute, turned requests down twice, and only took the stand when a subpoena made it non-optional. So why speak up now? Because, according to him, it was about Cassie.
I'm here to support Cassie. Cassie is my friend. I love her and I want to see her do well.
Showing up for someone he cares about and helping her move on from a mess that lasted way too long. He also reminds people there's history. In 2011, a brief thing with Cassie pulled him straight into Diddy's blast radius. Back then his life was chaotic. He hints at rough habits and spirals, but he's clear the testimony wasn't for drama. It was to tell what he experienced and let the system do its job. The tone is calm, almost surgical, with a little bite when he talks about pressure and power. That sets the stakes. And now, the moment that pushed everything to the edge. What happened inside Cudi's home? Here's the moment that still makes Cudi clench his jaw. He says news of him seeing Cassie didn't just ruffle feathers, it kicked in a door. While Cudi was out, Diddy allegedly showed up at his place. When Cudi got back, the scene felt off. Gifts torn open like a kid on caffeine. Drawers disturbed and his dog shut in the bathroom. That's not a prank. That's a message. Cudi called the cops because what else do you do when your home stops feeling like yours? He doesn't dress it up. No thriller monologue, just a flat, irritated recounting from someone who's tired of power games. You can hear the subtext. If this is the warning shot, what comes next? And if you're Cassie in the middle, how safe do you feel anywhere? Cudi's point lands quietly but sharply. This wasn't drama, it was intrusion. And weeks later, it gets worse. The car. Weeks after the house mess, Cudi's Porsche didn't just catch fire. Investigators found the kind of details you don't get from a random spark. Roof slit open, a bottle used as a makeshift device, strong gas odor, the whole "this was meant to burn" checklist. In plain English, not an accident. Cudi connects the dots in his head like anyone would, but here's where court reality taps the brakes. He could describe what he saw and what officials told him, sure. What he couldn't do was stand there and declare who did it. When he hinted at who he believed was behind it, the judge told jurors to disregard that part. Translation: facts in, speculation out. So the picture is ugly. Targeted arson vibes, major damage, zero subtlety, but the narrative has legal guardrails. That tension, what everyone suspects versus what's allowed, hangs over the room. And then Cudi's own testimony adds color to that tension. On the stand, Cudi kept it simple and heavy. He walked the jury through the home incident, coming back to a place that felt rifled through. And then the Porsche going up in flames weeks later. No theatrics, just dates, details, and the kind of quiet tone people use when they're done arguing. He talked about meeting Diddy afterward and described the vibe like something out of a comic book villain scene. Grand, icy, almost performative. When Cudi hinted at who he believed was responsible for the car, the court clipped it. Jurors were told to ignore that belief. That's how trials work. You can bring your memories, not your conclusions. He also admitted his head wasn't clear back in 2011. Messy habits, messy life, but made it clear the facts don't change because he was going through it. The net effect: jurors got a controlled first-person account without the extra seasoning. Next came the supporting voices, especially Cassie, and how their pieces lined up. Cassie's piece snaps the timeline into focus. She told the court there was a threat about Cudi's car long before that Porsche turned into a bonfire. It's the kind of line you don't forget, and it mirrors the fear running through her story. Power moves, control, and the constant feeling that someone's watching. Other testimony filled in the edges, investigators describing the car scene like a textbook meant to burn, and courtroom reminders that jurors must stick to what's proven, not what sounds likely. The defense pushed back on plenty, memory gaps, motives, even the way questions were asked, trying to sand down anything that felt too sharp. Through it all, Cudi's account didn't live on an island. Parts of it lined up with what Cassie and others described. Still, this isn't a documentary with a neat ending, it's a trial. Some dots you're allowed to connect, some you're told to leave alone, and the verdict reflects that split. When the gavel fell on July 2nd, 2025, the result wasn't neat. Diddy walked on the biggest charges, no racketeering, no trafficking, but the jury still found him guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. That's not a slap on the wrist, it carries serious time. With sentencing set for October 3rd, 2025, the court reminded everyone this case was about evidence, not vibes. So yes, some narratives collapsed under cross-exams and instructions and others held. The defense immediately started talking appeals and post-trial motions. No surprise there. Prosecutors, meanwhile, framed the mixed verdict as accountability, even if it wasn't the sweeping result some expected. Translation, the legal fight isn't over, and the industry fallout definitely isn't either. For Cudi, it means his testimony now lives next to an official record that split the difference, and outside that courthouse, the reactions were loud, messy, and very online. Some supportive, some hostile. Which brings us to the blowback. The internet did what it always does, picked sides and yelled. Some praised Cudi for showing up, calling it real courage. Others rolled their eyes and said he was clout chasing. Industry whispers say a few folks weren't thrilled he spoke at all, which, shocking, right? Rumors suggest certain camps felt he broke an unspoken code. Reports claim a couple of gatekeepers went cold. Cudi doesn't feed the drama in the podcast. He keeps it tight and lets the facts sit. That actually lands harder. He also clears up a key point. He didn't use the interview to accuse anyone for the car attack. He stuck to what happened and what he told the court. That matters when people try to remold his words into clickbait. So the reaction is loud, messy, and useful for views, not truth. Which raises the bigger question. If the noise is this heavy, what does Cudi actually want people to take away? Strip away the noise and Cudi's reason is boring on purpose. Tell what he lived, stand up for Cassie, and go home. He didn't love the spotlight, the headlines, or the courtroom air that felt like recycled AC and stress. He says he made peace with testifying when he realized it wasn't about scoring points. It was about backing a friend and putting real events on the record. No victory lap, no gotcha. Just here's what happened to me. He also owns the messiness of 2011, bad choices, worst nights, but he doesn't let that be the escape hatch for the story. The facts don't vanish because the narrator had a rough season, and that's his quiet message. Power moves might be loud, but truth doesn't need a megaphone. So what should people take away? Maybe this. When the cost of speaking up is high and you still do it, that's the point. The rest is commentary.